building and planting, a very familiar theme throughout this period. It's my honor to welcome, bringing us answers and direction, our pastor, Dr. MENSA OTABIL. Pastor OTABIL, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Today more than ever.
Yes.
It's been
a new day.
It's been an amazing journey. We'll come back to that very shortly, but let me first introduce my colleagues, Reverend Eric Hermeku of ICGC Open Heavens. Pastor Eric, good to see you.
Thank you very much, Reverend Albert.
Right, and Pastor Priscilla.
Thank you, Pastor Albert.
I always want to say Pastor Priscilla is from ICGC Eagles Temple, where the Eagles dwell at Bowie. Right, so Dr. OTABIL, for the past 40 days, you've had an experience of a lifetime, and based on Sunday's message, I guess our discussion must begin with thanksgiving to God because it's a divine expectation.
It has to be. God has been good to us. It's always overwhelming when you see what God does with you just by taking a simple step of faith and how He orchestrates it to become bigger than anything you dreamt of. So we were not sure how 40 Days of Power would work out without a physical attendance. We envisaged it to be fully online, and it's been the biggest, the most engaging, the most involving, the most impactful 40 Days of Power we've ever had. And a lot of value has been created, lots of lessons which we are going to use for next year as well. But it's just good how God surprises us all the time.
Doc, you talk about surprises, and you talk about the reality exceeding the plan or the expectation. For the ordinary person sitting out there listening to you, who is dreaming about something, conceptualizing something, you mentioned that God surprised you, but is there something that probably we can learn from in terms of creating a container to receive that surprise that you mentioned, Doc?
Well, I mean, our approach during this whole COVID experience is to embrace the season. You know, these things don't just happen. Anything that is severe enough to shut down the whole world is something to really learn from. And so we have always had a positive attitude towards the whole COVID experience, the shutdown, whatever. It's a challenge, it's exciting, see what God is going to use this to accomplish. And that's our approach to it. So when we started planning, that was it. How do we maximize this? How do we make the most of it? How do we allow the glory of God to shine through it? I think when you go through life rejecting things, opportunities, you never see what God can use them to do. All things work together always for the good of those who love the Lord and are called according to His purpose. So that's how we approached it. We planned for it, and we thank God for how it turned out.
Incredible. Pastor Priscilla?
Yeah, a lot of attention has been focused on the unique approach to prayer this year, with prayer hubs or centers traveling across the globe. Can you share with us your thoughts about the rationale behind this and the impact of this novelty?
Well, part of it was circumstantial. You couldn't travel, so our pastors couldn't all come to Accra or go to a particular place. So just looking at the situation and seeing how best to use it. So we decided that instead of everybody going to one place, we will go to where they are. So the prayer had to be circulated and the recordings had to be done in different locations. Although the backdrop remained the same, we tried to create one corporate identity. I've never seen our church come together as much as it did during this time. The format of the prayer was the same, and everybody was cooperative. Everybody followed the same format. And I saw gifts and talents and abilities from our pastors that I didn't know existed. I heard people lead in prayer, and I said, wow, is that also a pastor? Because most of them, I don't know them because there's so many of them. But just to see how well and effective and efficient they were in time management, in presentation, in sensitivity to the Holy Spirit, all of that coming together, that was remarkable. And there was a lot of organization, but thank God it worked out very well.
Pastor Eric?
Right. So much has happened within the last 40 days with many testimonies. How do we consolidate the benefits after such intense spiritual experience?
I would go first to what I preach on Sunday, that when God does something for us, we have to be thankful. And I think for every member of the church who has been blessed, or the public who have been blessed, that attitude of thanksgiving is important. In addition to that, to learn the lessons of this whole operation, doing a virtual prayer meeting is a really beneficial lesson. We will deepen it, we will explore it further, and we'll see how to make it work even better than it was this year. You can be sure that next year is going to be bigger, better, and greater. That's how we always approach everything that we do. So we'll go back to the drawing board, learn from it, and make adjustments where they need to be made, improvements where they need to be made, and maintain what needs to be maintained. So we make the most of it. For the spiritual engagement, I'm trying to look at ways in which, if even it's not 40 days, for a certain period, we can have this kind of prayer going on in our churches. So I expect that we will come up with something like that, whether one day in a week or once a week, we have a 24-hour prayer and engage it that way. So we'll see what lessons to learn from it.
Yeah, definitely exciting days ahead.
Definitely. I'm excited about it.
Doc, one of the most remarkable things for many people is the sermons that have been preached in this particular era, with themes like God will build it again, it's time to build and plant, it is raining, break up your fallow ground, and then when God plants your field. Let me ask, what is on your heart and mind for the continent as well as for the nation by extension?
Right from the onset of the COVID, I said, and I still believe, that this is our finest hour. It takes disruption for opportunity to be created. When people have taken spaces already, you cannot occupy until there is a disruption. And sometimes you orchestrate the disruption, or sometimes God does it for you. I believe that this COVID is a positive disruption of the world. And I believe the beneficiary should be the African continent. That's what I believe from the beginning. I still believe that. I also think the church should be the beneficiary of this global disruption. And the way to see these things is not to see the disruption in a negative way. It will disrupt your life. But in that process, opportunities, gaps are being created, spaces are being created, and we have to get into it. And I believe that this is a disruption that has been created for hitherto disadvantaged peoples and groups to plant their feet in the spaces that will be created. And I believe that for Africa, if we seize this moment, the development gap between us and the rest of the world will be closed faster. Whereas in the past, it could have taken us probably 200 years to try to make up the gap. I think we could do it probably in about 40 years at this rate if we introvert our development. That means that we look within instead of looking outside and start developing on our own strength, empower people to build and to plant. And that is why I have worked with those themes of building and planting and opportunities and things like that. But I fully believe that this season is going to see people do extraordinary things. And I see extraordinary businesses, young people really doing marvelous things for God. And the moment is ripe for it.
Doc, if I preach you for one word that you will give to, you talk about young people a lot. If I preach you for one word for all the young people in the context of what you just shared, one word that you would give to all the young people watching you for this season, what would it be?
I mean, when I watch God and I read the Bible, I see that every major biblical movement or activity is done by young people. It's initiated by young people. whether it's a David, it's a Daniel, it's an Esther. Jesus Christ himself was a young man. So whenever I see these kinds of societal shifts, immediately I see this is an opportunity for a new generation to emerge. And normally the new generation will be people who are in their 20s and 30s. They would be the young people. And for everybody in that age bracket, this is your finest hour, your finest moment. Seize the moment. Don't complain. Don't fight. Seize it. Plant in it. Build in it. You'll be amazed what God will do with you.
Doctor, the word is seize.
Yes. Yes.
Seize.
Seize it.
Powerful. Pastor Priscilla?
Jeremiah chapter 4, verse 3, it admonishes us to break up our fallow ground and not to sow among thorns. What does it mean to break up your fallow ground? And what are the thorns the Bible mentions?
The fallow ground would be an unexplored, uncultivated land. I mean, if you look at the Ghanaian society and African society, we become distributors of other people's products. So the whole idea of made in Africa, made in Ghana, made in Nigeria, we creating things by ourselves, is not there. We are just users of other people's effort and technology. So this is a fallow ground we must break. And so I want to see people go into areas that we haven't been known as Africans to operate in. We've left so much out there, even in areas where we have competitive advantages, we haven't done much with it. So those are fallow grounds. Sowing among thorns is basically doing the same thing, working in an environment or creating in an environment and doing the same thing that has crippled us in the past. And we have to depart from that and do different things.
All right. Is it possible that out of exuberance and desire to break our fallow grounds, we will enter into territories that we are not graced for? And what must we do to avoid sowing unprofitably or wasting our efforts?
Yes, it is possible. I try not to think in those terms because once people start thinking of grace in a restrictive sense, they also place limitations on themselves. I tend to think of grace as an area of gifting and enablement. So you look at where your gifts are, where your enablements are, and where the opportunities are leading you to, and you jump into it. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy. It's going to be tough. Life is tough. There's nothing easy anywhere in the world. It's all sweat and toil. But God has ordained that it is through sweat and toil that we overcome the thorns of life, and life becomes fruitful to us. So we must cheerfully toil and willingly work very hard at the things that are significant to us and put all our energies into them and make them work. Does it mean everybody is going to get the same results? It has never been so historically in human life that some people get, Jesus said some people get 100, some will get a 60, some will get a 30, but everybody will get something. Everybody would achieve something, not to the same measure. So I don't want people to second guess themselves. I don't want people to place limitations on themselves before they even try to do something. Make the effort. If it doesn't work, regroup and make another effort. That's how progress is made in life.
Doc, let's go to role differentiation. What you described sounds like an all-encompassing change. My curiosity is about what will be the role of the individual. Then what should be the response of, say, the church, and then nations and continents?
I hope governments will prioritize on their citizens and empower them instead of limiting them. It's part of our experience that governments have never been enablers. They have been disablers all over the continent. In Ghana, government seems to take the position of a disabler instead of an enabler. I hope that will change. my experience is sometimes governments are the last to change. So then responsibility is now on the individuals. And so individuals are not going to say, because I was not enabled, I would not do it. We have to create the enabling environment by ourselves. So, and the way for individuals to do that is to network broadly. Young people should network, get to know what others are doing, dovetail their efforts into each other, create a cohesive value chain with other industries and colleagues and so on, so that even if it is not there at the larger level, we create it at the lower level. Most nations have advanced not because government created opportunity, but because citizens broke the mold. The United States is a great example of citizens building a nation instead of the state building the nation. Of course, there are other countries where the state has built a nation, like China, but there are also models where the state may not be the most enabling factor, but citizens are. The church is critical. I think the most vibrant, forward-looking institution in Africa is the church. It may be a debatable concept, but anybody who takes time to study the African church, the indigenous African church of the last 40 years, and see the drive that has created the movements that we see, would see a model that, if applied to business and if applied to industry, will transform this continent in a very short time. There is something we must learn from the church leaders. They have an understanding of society and an organization that is easily underplayed and over-spiritualized. But there is a social model that can be studied from these institutions. And I hope that the churches themselves, in the absence of a government enabler, churches will become enablers of their people and inspire people to really go out and do more for God.
This is Time with Pastor Otabil, and today we are having a very insightful discussion about building and planting. We'll go for a brief break. When we come back, we'll explore even more about this all-important subject. Please don't go away.
We've come to the end of this video. We believe you've been blessed. Remember, God's love is steadfast and unchanging. May His grace and peace be with you always. If you're new here, consider subscribing to stay up to date with our videos. Kindly share this video with your friends and families. You can watch this next video on your screen.